you're resting more than you ever have. Maybe you're taking time off. You are sleeping 8 hours. You are saying no to things. And you're still exhausted. The problem isn't that you need more rest. The problem is that the structure of your life is actively draining you faster than rest can ever refill you. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly where that leak is, why it matters, and one framework that changes how you relate to energy forever. Let me start with something you probably felt but haven't named it yet. You can take a 2-week vacation, come back rested, and feel completely depleted again by Wednesday. You can meditate every morning, eat well, exercise, and still feel like you're running on fumes. You can get 9 hours of sleep and wake up tired. Something deeper is wrong, and it's not a rest problem. Here's what I've been seeing over and over with the people I work with. Burnout professionals, overwhelmed parents, wellness seekers who are doing everything right on paper. They have a morning routine. They are conscious about their food. They read the books. And none of it sticks because they're trying to solve an energy problem with rest tactics. Their actual life structure is still pulling them in 5 directions at once. Think about what happens in your week. You wake up and immediately respond to messages. You are context switching constantly. You're saying yes to things you don't actually want to do because you feel obligated. You are scrolling at night because you're too tired to do anything else, but also too wired to sleep. You are eating lunch at your desk. You are working through dinner. You are constantly in a reactive state, putting out fires instead of building something. Then you try to fix all of this with yoga class on Sunday. It doesn't work because the problem isn't the yoga. It is the structure. What I mean by structure is the actual shape of your day and week and the systems that hold that shape in place. It is your calendar, your commitments, your decision-making patterns, the way you allocate your time and attention. Most people never look at that structure directly. They just live inside it and wonder why they are tired. They assume the tiredness is personal, like there's something wrong with their capacity or their discipline. But I have worked with incredibly disciplined, capable people who are exhausted because their life structure was fundamentally misaligned with how they actually regenerate energy. Here's what's really happening. You have a certain amount of energy available to you each day. It is finite. Think of it like a battery, but your life structure is designed, usually by accident, to spend that energy on things that you don't refill it. You are spending energy on obligations you didn't choose. You are spending energy on context switching. You are spending energy on things you care about, but in a fragmented way that never lets you get into a real rhythm. You are spending energy on managing other people's expectations. And then you wonder why there is nothing left for the things that actually matter for you, for your kids, for your health, for your own life redesign. The deeper cost is this. Every day that you are living in a structure that depletes you faster than it refills you, you are not just tired. You are training yourself to believe that this is just what life is. You are normalizing exhaustion. You are accepting it as the price of being responsible, of being a good parent, of being a good professional. And in doing that, you are postponing the version of your life where you actually feel energized, where you have time for the things you care about, where natural wellness isn't something you're trying to squeeze in on weekends, but something that's actually woven into how you live. Now, let me show you exactly where the energy goes. There are three specific patterns I see in almost everyone who comes to me feeling stuck. The first leak is what I call commitment creep. This is when you have said yes to so many things over time that your yes no longer means anything. You have work commitments, family commitments, social commitments, wellness commitments. You are on email lists you don't read. You are in group chats you don't enjoy. You've got recurring meetings that could have been emails. You got friends you see out of obligation. You've been got projects you started that you don't actually want to finish. Each individual commitment feels small enough that you don't want to cut it, but together they fill every single slot in your calendar and leave no space for anything new, anything restorative, anything that actually matters to you. And the worst part is that you are not even present in most of these commitments because you are mentally already at the next one. You are physically at the soccer practice, but thinking about the email you need to send. You are on the work call, but worried about dinner. You are with your family, but scrolling because you are too tired to be there. The energy cost isn't just the time, it's the constant context switching and the guilt of not being fully present anywhere. Now, the second leak is what I call decision fatigue through lack of design. This is different from commitment creep. This is when you haven't actually made a decision about how you want to live. So, every single day become a series of tiny decisions that add up to exhaustion. What time do I wake up? What do I eat? When do I work on the thing that matters? When do I spend time with my kids? Should I exercise or rest? When do I check email? Should I say yes to this request? None of these have a clear answer because you haven't designed a structure around them. So every day you are making these decisions from scratch, and every decision takes energy. Research shows that decision fatigue is one of the fastest ways to deplete yourself. By the time you get to evening, you made hundreds of micro decisions and you have no energy left for anything else. That is why you end up scrolling. That's why you snap at people. That is why good intentions fell apart. The third leak is fragmentation. This is the killer for people who care about natural living, about wellness, about growth. You want to move your body, but it's fragmented into 15-minute bursts. You want to cook real food, but it's scattered across 5 nights. You want to spend quality time with your kids, but it's squeezed between work and chores. You want to rest, but you are too wired because you've been in go mode all day. You want to connect with nature, but it is a special occasion instead of a part of how you live. Fragmentation is exhausting because it never lets you get into flow. You are constantly starting and stopping. You are constantly context switching. You never build momentum. And because you never have long enough blocks of time or attention, nothing deepens. You are doing all the right things, but none of them feel sustainable or meaningful. The truth that nobody wants to hear is that these three leaks are usually not the result of being too busy or not having enough willpower. They are the result of not having made a deliberate choice about how you want to live. You are operating on default, on what you have always done, on what other people expect, on what you think you should do. And that default is exhausting because it's not actually designed for you. Why rest alone never fix this? Before I show you the framework that changes this, I need to address the reason why rest feels like it isn't working. You've probably been told that burnout is a rest problem, that if you just rest more, you'll feel better. And rest is important, truly, but rest can't fix a design problem. It's like trying to bail water out of a boat while there is still a hole in the hull. You can bail and bail and bail, and you will still sink. You have to fix the hole first. Here's what happens when you try to rest without changing the structure. You rest, you feel better temporarily. And then you go back to the same structure and you get depleted again, faster than before. Because now you feel guilty for not making progress while you are resting. Or you rest and you feel so guilty about all the things you're not doing that you can't actually relax. Or, third one, you rest and then you come back and you are expected to make up for the time you took off. So the next week is even more intense. Obligation, another source of stress. The real issue is that your nervous system is trained to be in a stress response because your life structure keeps putting you in situations that trigger that response. You are constantly making decisions, constantly context switching, constantly reacting, constantly feeling behind. Your body never gets a signal that you are safe to fully relax because the structure itself is sending the opposite signal. So you can rest your body, but your nervous system stays activated. You lie down and your mind is still racing through all the things you should be doing. What actually needs to happen is that you need to change the structure so that your nervous system gets a different signal. You need to design a life where you are not constantly in a reactive mode. You need to consolidate your commitment so you're not constantly context switching. You need to create real blocks of time for the things that matter. You need to make decisions once and stick to them so you're not making the same decisions every day. You need to build rhythm and momentum instead of fragmentation. When you do that, rest actually works. Your nervous system gets the signal that it's safe to relax. Your mind stops racing. You recover faster. This is the real work of regeneration. It is not about adding more wellness tactics. It's about redesigning the container that those tactics live in. So, here's what I want to give you. This is the framework I use to help people see exactly where their energy is going and where they need to make changes. It's called the Energy Audit and is the first step in any real redesign. Here's how it works. You're going to look at your actual week, not the week you think you have or the week you wish you had, but the actual week you are being living right now. And you're going to map three things. First, you're going to identify every commitment, every recurring thing you do: work, family, friends, exercise, hobbies, social media, everything. Write it down. Don't judge it yet, just map it. Second, you're going to categorize each commitment into one of three buckets. Bucket one is things that genuinely refill your energy. These are things that align with your values, that make you feel alive, that you're doing because you actually want to, not because you should. For most people, this might include time with people they love, time in nature, creative work, movement that feels good, rest that actually feels restful. Bucket two is things that are neutral. These are obligations that need to happen, but they don't drain or energize you. They're just part of life. Maybe that's certain work tasks, certain household things. Bucket three is things that actively drain your energy. These are commitments you have made but you don't want. You don't have to tell nobody. It's just for you. Things you are doing out of obligation or guilt. Things that take energy without giving anything back. Third, you're going to measure how much time you are actually spend in each bucket. Not how much time you think you're spending, but how much time you actually are. This is where it gets real. Most people discover that they're spending maybe 10 or 20% of their time in bucket one. Things that actually refill them. Maybe 50% in bucket two, neutral obligations, and 30 to 40% in bucket three, things that drain them. No wonder they are exhausted. Here's the powerful part. Once you can see this clearly, you know exactly where to make changes. You can't add more rest until you reduce bucket three. You can't feel alive until you increase bucket one. You can't build momentum until you reduce the fragmentation in bucket two. Let me give you a real example. One of my clients, Sarah, is a marketing director and a mother of two. She did this audit and discovered that she was spending about 4 hours a week on work meetings that didn't actually need her there. She was in them because she was a people pleaser and she didn't want to seem disengaged. She was spending 6 hours a week on friend obligations with people she didn't actually enjoy. She was spending 3 hours a week scrolling because she was too tired to do anything else. She was spending maybe 5 hours a week with our kids where she was actually present. When she saw this mapped out, she realized she had created a structure where the things that mattered most to her got the scraps of her energy. The things that drained her got the prime time. So what did she do? She started small. She took one meeting of her calendar permanently. She had a conversation with the friends she didn't actually want to see, and they fitted to a quarterly dinner instead of a monthly. She moved her work email to specific times instead of constant checking. Suddenly, she had 7 hours back in her week. She used those hours to build real time with our kids, real time to cook dinner, real time to move our body in a way that feel good. Within 3 weeks, she reported feeling more energized, not because she was resting more, but because our structure was finally aligned with what refills her. The energy audit is free to do. It requires honesty. You have to actually look at how you're spending your time and energy right now, not how you wish you were. That's hard. That's why most people don't do it, but that's also why it's so powerful. Once you've done the audit, here's what I want you to understand about change. You don't have to fix everything at once. In fact, trying to fix everything at once is how you end up back where you started, exhausted and overwhelmed by overwhelm of trying to redesign your life. What I have seen work is this. You pick one thing from bucket 3, one commitment that drains you, and you eliminate it or significantly reduce it. Not 10 things, not 5 things, one. You make that one change and you sit with it for 2 weeks. You notice your energy shifts. This sounds slow, but it's actually faster than trying to change everything at once because it works with your nervous system instead of against it. When you make one change and you feel the difference, your brain gets evidence that change is possible. Your confidence builds. The next change becomes easier. You start to see yourself as someone who can redesign their life, not someone who's stuck. Here's the other thing that happens. When you eliminate one drain, you suddenly have energy to invest in one thing from bucket 1. Maybe it's a daily walk. Maybe it's cooking a real dinner. Maybe it's 1 hour with your kids where you are actually present. And that thing from bucket 1 starts to compound because it refills you. You have more energy for the next thing because you're doing one thing that matters to you. Your whole nervous system shifts. You start to feel alive again. When you feel alive, you make better decisions. You are less reactive. You are more intentional about what you say yes to. You are more aligned. This is how real transformation happens, not through force or willpower or trying harder, through one small shift, one that compounds over time because it's aligned with how you actually regenerate energy. I want to be clear about something. Understanding this framework, implementing it in your own is valuable. But there's a reason why the people who see the biggest transformations work with a coach through this process. Because doing this alone is hard. It's hard to see your own blind spots. It's hard to stay committed when you are tired. It's hard to know what to cut and what to keep without someone helping you see the real trade-offs. It's hard to handle the guilt and the resistance that comes up when you start saying no to things. It's hard to keep going when you hit the inevitable moment where you doubt either any of this is going to actually work. This is exactly what I built my programs around. The 7-week intensive regeneration coaching is designed for people who want to go from exhausted and overwhelmed to genuinely energized and in control of their lives. We start with the energy audit. We map exactly where your energy is going. Then we build a real plan to shift it, not a middle-ized version. And we do it with support every week, with accountability, with worksheet and action plans that you can actually implement. The 12-week Natural Living Transformation Program goes deeper. It's for people who don't just want to stop being exhausted, but who want to genuinely thrive, who want to rebuild their relationship with their body, with nature, with rest, who want to create a life where natural wellness isn't something they're trying to squeeze in, but something that's woven into how they actually live. Over 3 months, we work through the structure piece, but we also work through the beliefs that keep you stuck, the patterns that keep you reaching for the quick fix instead of the real redesign, the way you relate to your own worth and what you deserve. But I also know that not everyone is ready for coaching right now. Maybe you need to sit with this framework first. So, here's what I want you to do today. Do the energy audit. Spend an hour this week mapping your 3 buckets. Just see what shows up. Don't try to fix anything yet. Just see. Once you've done that, you know whether you need to go deeper with support or whether you can make this shift on your own. And subscribe to this channel because I'm going to keep giving you real frameworks that really work. Not more rest tips or more wellness hacks, but real tools to redesign how you live. Energy template is going to be available to download. That is my gift for you today. If you have been resting and you're still exhausted, the structure is the problem. Start with the energy audit this week. Links are in the description below. Subscribe so you don't miss the next framework. I will see you next week. Bye. Have a great day.